Should I buy cruise stock? It's a common question. It was a common question in 2020, and it's going to be a common question in 2021. Now, the stock market is unpredictable. We don't know the future, but maybe we can get some ideas of how it turned out for cruise stock investors in 2020 by just looking at the numbers. In today's episode of the Cruise News Show, let's talk cruise stock. Let's talk cruise financials. Here we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cruise News Show. Welcome to 2021. I am your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise updates. Well, cruise stocks, that was a story unto itself in 2020. It's pretty well known that the cruise lines, they struggled in 2020 because they couldn't operate their business. They spent a lot of time raising capital, trying to eliminate debt, and part of that story is the selling of cruise stock. And so the question is, could you have made money in cruise stock in 2020? And if so, how would it have worked out? So we're going to do it a couple ways. We're going to look at the big three. We're going to look at Carnival Corporation. We're going to look at Royal Caribbean Group. We're going to look at Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings. And we're going to analyze how their stock did from the beginning of 2020 to the end of 2020. And then we're going to look at, if you were an investor with $1,000, which cruise line would have been the best cruise line to invest in and when. All right, we got a lot ahead of us. Let's jump into it. First, let's quickly look at some charts, and what we're looking for is the starting point, the ending point, and some peaks and some valleys. Carnival Corporation, January the 2nd, their stock price was $51.31. The lowest that Carnival Corporation went during this past year was down to $7.97 on April the 2nd. In June of 2020, Carnival experienced its highest peak since its first drop-off. The stock made it all the way back to $24.91. Then we see a bottom out again in October with a stock price of $12.30. And now at the end of the year, December the 31st, the stock price for Carnival Corporation, $21.66. Taking a look at Royal Caribbean Group on January the 2nd, 2020, their stock price $134.65. It experienced its first low point March the 19th, 2020, when the stock dropped to $22.41. It peaked in June at $75.12. It experienced another low later on in June, $46.41, and it closed out the year with a stock price of $74.69. Norwegian Cruise Line Holding, their stock price at the beginning of 2020, $58.83. It experienced its first low March the 18th when it dropped to $7.77. It climbed its way back in June to $26.86. It experienced its second valley, its second low, July the 31st when it dropped to $13.64. And then as we sit at the end of the year 2020, the stock price is at $25.43. So the old adage about the stock market is true. You want to buy low and sell high, and you never know when the lows are going to be, and you never know when the highs are going to be. But there's definitely some moments on the chart where the prices were low. That would have been the time to get in. And then the question is, should you have sold along the way? Let's do the exercise to determine which cruise line stock was the best to get into in 2020. Here's the assumption. I'm assuming that you were not already in one of these three stocks at the beginning of the year, because if you were already holding any of these three cruise stocks, then you lost money in 2020 if you held it throughout the year. Your only hope is for that stock to eventually get back up to that price. But a lot of people jumped in the market as they saw these cruise stocks going down. So let's say that you're sitting there with $1,000 watching the cruise stocks kind of bottom out. And let's say that you're going to be a single stock buyer. You're going to pick one of the three companies. Which one would it have been the best to jump into? Before we look at which cruise stock would have been the best one to invest in 2020, I'm going to give you a tip that is always a winner, and that is if you want the latest updates when it comes to cruising, you can invest your time here with Lido Loca on this YouTube channel. It's really easy to do. It doesn't cost you anything. If you want to stay up to date on all that's going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. Thanks in advance. So which cruise stock should you have bought? The way we're going to do it is we're just going to give you credit that you bought at the lowest price and that you're still holding on to it at the end of the year. You didn't sell during the first peak, that you're still holding on to it at the end of the year. So let's say you bought Carnival on April the 2nd, 2020, when it was $7.97 a share. You could have bought 125 shares. That would have tallied out to $996.25. And let's say you held on to it until December the 31st, 2020. Your 125 shares at $21.66 would be $2,707.50 for a profit of $1,711.25. That would be awesome, right? So how does it stack up to Royal Caribbean? If you would have purchased Royal Caribbean stock at its low on March the 19th at $22.41, you would have been able to buy 44 shares. That would have taken up $986.04 of your $1,000. And then if you're still holding those 44 shares at the end of the year, that's going to equal $3,286.36 for a profit of $2,300.32. Again, a good chunk of change. And then let's say you invested in Norwegian at its lowest point, March the 18th, $7.77. You would have been able to buy 128 shares. That would have taken up $994.56 of your $1,000. If you're still holding those shares at the end of 2020, the 128 shares now worth $3,255.04 for a profit of $2,260.48. So bringing it all together, if you were a Carnival investor, your profit would be $1,711.25. Royal Caribbean, $2,300.32, and Norwegian Cruise Line, $2,260.48. So the winner for 2020 from a stock perspective, Royal Caribbean Group. If you were a $1,000 investor, that's where you would have made most of your money. But let's take our shares even further. Let's just assume that once cruising resumes, it will get back to where it started in 2020. Who would be the big winner then? Well, Carnival Corporation, if it gets back to its starting price of $51.31, your 125 shares would be worth $6,413.75 for a profit of $5,447.50. If you are a Royal Caribbean investor and it got back to its starting price of $134.65, your 44 shares would be worth $5,924.60, and that would be a profit of $4,938.56. And if you were a Norwegian Cruise Line investor, your 128 shares getting back to the original price of $58.83 would be worth $7,030.24 for a profit of $65.35.68. So that's taking a big assumption that it's going to get back to its starting price of 2020. But if that happens, then the person that invested $1,000 in Norwegian at the low would actually make the most money. Look, I'm not a stock expert. I did buy each of these three cruise lines during the first valley, and I got out at the first peak. I'm not holding any cruise stock at the end of this year. I'm excited that they're all still profitable. And should you buy cruise stock going into 2021? It's a mixed bag. If you go out on the internet and you read some of the financial sites, there's a lot of them out there. You see some people still recommending cruise stocks, some companies not recommending cruise stocks. I can't say, again, to me, the stock market is a little bit like gambling. Sometimes you're a big winner, sometimes you're not. And so you got to do what you got to do with your own money. I can't really tell you what to do, but it's easy to look back, as we have just done, and see that if you invested in cruise stocks in 2020, you made some money. And that's the question for the comments. Did you buy cruise stock for the first time in 2020? Did you make some money? Are you still holding the stock? What are you going to do for 2021? That should be an interesting conversation. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk a little cruise stock with me, to look at some cruise financials. Hope you enjoyed it. Please show your support for the show by hitting the like button. This is Tony with Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.